everyone to Eden Secret. Today I'm just doing a nice quick video because I've run out of Love Spell wax melts, and so I thought while I'm making them I'll just turn the camera on. You know, I know some of you only like soaps, and I know some of you only like wax melts, and some of you like bath bombs, and some of you like to watch everything. So yeah, we're doing some wax melts today. So I've warmed my moulds up in the microwave for 1.5 minutes. I put the 3 in all together, one on top of the other, like so. And I've started washing them in the dishwasher. They seem to come up pretty well, but no matter what you do with the silicone moulds, they do, you know, some of the wax sort of soaks into the silicone. You can never get them perfectly clean, so don't worry about it if you make them, because I actually get quite a lot of people getting in touch and asking me about that because they can't get their silicone moulds perfectly clean. Even on moulding a wax melt, you can make wax melt straight away in the mould without washing it. You don't need to wash still, as long as they unmold fairly cleanly. You don't need to wash them. Just make a few hundred wax melts in the day and then wash the moulds that night, so they're nice and clean for you getting up the next day. Right, so what we're doing here first is I've got some melted wax in here, and I'm just going to pour it, some of it, into this pot, and we're actually going to take some of the neon pink or fluorescent pink. It's down as both on the website, that's why sometimes I say neon and sometimes I say fluorescent. And anywhere you see fluorescent or neons pigments, it's probably come from the same company originally, because most of the colour companies that sell these micas and everything, they don't actually manufacture the micas, they buy them in from wherever they come from. So yeah, there's a bit of sunflower oil mixed in with my mica here, but it isn't going to hurt the mixture at all. And then we're just going to mix in that hot pink. I want it a little bit pinker, I want it to be fairly strong. We're going to do a hot pink drizzle, and then we're going to make the wax melts like a lovely beautiful lilac-y colour with the Becro candle dye. So that's the pink wax all ready to go. Make sure you put your lids back on. We've got some gorgeous glitter here from Supply Studio, and this is just gorgeous. It's not hot pink, it's more like a neon purple actually, mixed with blue, but the contrast of it on these wax melts is absolutely lovely. So we're just going to sprinkle that into each compartment. Every time I do a video like this, I always get a question, where do I get these silicone moulds from? Well, I buy them from siliconemolds.com, but if you, who are obviously in the UK, but if you're overseas and you want to buy them, if you just type into the Google search silicone chocolate moulds, and you'll probably come up with a lot of bar style silicone moulds. I'm not sure if siliconemolds.com make these, but I've seen them all over the place. Seems like loads of companies actually sell these ones. So I'm going to get a different pipette now, and then we're just going to drizzle in some of this brightly coloured wax. So I thought I'd give you a nice close-up so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Just drizzling it in. Fill your pipette up each time you go into a new compartment. And you want to try and get a bit of the pink into every single compartment that you've got going on there. I just feel like this year's absolutely flying by already, do you? Like, we're into March. And yeah, there's a terrible, terrible war going on for the poor Ukrainians. And you want to help, but you want to send the right things that they actually need. And it's funny, like, you'll get a lot of charities whenever there's a new anything new going on. The charities will come straight on trying to get you to send them money, but none of them ever tell you what these people actually need. I did hear on the radio yesterday that the people in the forces need medical kits, first aid kits, but they said they needed to be specific first aid kits, but they didn't tell you which brand to go out and buy or anything. So I just think that would be really, really useful if they could tell us what to actually buy. Okay, so we've got some of these violet Becro candle dye here. It's a beautiful, beautiful violet colour this gives off. And looking at the wax melts, they already look fantastic without even using the purple. I've always done Love Spell, I've always done it pink and purple, so you can see how gorgeous that colour is. I'm not putting any glitter or anything in this one. I quite like it without, because it's still got the glitter in the bottom there. I'm just going to top this up with some other wax I already had melted over here. This was, well, I made some wax melts. I didn't have any labels for them, so I made them and just put the foil on. And I thought, oh, I'll just open them up, melt them down, and I'll just mix the two together. So I'm going to mix them. It doesn't matter, whatever your volume is, just work out the 10% percentage, and that gives you the exact quantity of fragrance to put in there. So I've just left the fragrance oil in there to melt nicely and warm through, so that all the wax molecules absorb that gorgeous fragrance. Now, as you can see, my jug is extremely full, so I have got another jug on standby that I'm going to use as well. And the reason for that is it's very difficult to pour out of a very full jug. See the gorgeous colour? Beautiful. I don't know if you can see the dribbles on the countertop. That's what happens when your jug is too full. And if you're gonna pour into your silicone moulds, then a lot of it is going to dribble everywhere that you don't want it to. What I should have done was did all of this in a 2-litre jug and then dispensed it into my 1-litre glass jugs, my heat proof. Well, I mean, my plastic ones are heat proof as well. So I think I'll just add a little bit more colour to those. Or you can just put it in like so, give that a stir, and then mix the two together. And this is how you would do that, because you want all the wax melts to be the same colour. I mean, it's crazy really. It doesn't matter, because one person isn't going to be buying all of these wax melts at the same time. It's just how fussy we become as manufacturers. So to mix that, just pour one into the other a few times and then they'll both end up identical. Right, it's time to test the temperature. So that's 62.5 centigrade. I'm going to let them cool just a little bit, and if you saw my short, you'll know that I've worked out that wax melts unmold much better if you just make them and leave them overnight. Don't try to speed up the setting process of them. Just pour them, leave them there overnight, get up and unmold them the next day. You don't need to put them in the fridge or the freezer, and they unmold better doing that. Putting them in the fridge or the freezer while they're trying to set might have some effect on them trying to set, and I've always thought that with soap as well. And I used to put my soap in the fridge as well, but you're cooling it down, and I think soap likes to be warm while it's saponifying, but that doesn't mean anybody is wrong that does it that way. I think it does help with the unmolding, but if your recipe's good, you should never need to put your soap recipe, your soap loaf in the fridge or the freezer to unmold it. If it's spot on, you'll never need that. Okay, so we're looking really good here. Let's pour. And it's a lovely fresh smell, fresh fruity smell for your home, this. Before I ever used these, I used to think, oh, I don't know if I'd want my home to smell of that fragrance, but it is absolutely gorgeous. Same with black raspberry and vanilla, and the other one I absolutely love is blackberry jam. But I think I've only got one wax melt left of the blackberry jam, so I'm going to need to order some more if it's still available, because a lot of these fragrance oil suppliers, they stop selling the fragrance oils, and you can't blame them if they don't sell very well. But you know how much it annoys me that people get assessments on these fragrances for their soaps and their cosmetics, and then the fragrance oil company discontinues the smell. Again, like I say, I'm not blaming them. I'm blaming whoever makes up the rules in having to put the fragrance oils on your safety assessment, because my assessments, I don't have to do that, so it doesn't matter to me. But all the new assessments, they ask for which fragrance oil you're using and from which company you've bought it from, and so that means you have to keep buying the fragrance oil for that from that company. Nightmare, absolute nightmare. I'd love to do a 10 Downing Street walk where we get a petition and we go down, or someone that's really clever and articulate. I'm not clever and articulate. Someone that's really clever and articulate could get on the board with the people who actually come up with these the legislation, and so they could tell the people that are making these rules up what kind of impact that's going to have on the soap makers. I mean, at the end of the day, we're trying to create businesses here, which can only be a good thing for the country. Right, there you go. So a kilo of wax makes 18 wax melts. So that's a kilo of wax and 100 grams of fragrance. Now any that I've just overfilled, because this one's a little bit short, I'm just robbing some out of the overfilled ones, because they actually wrap up better if they're not overfilled. You know, if you overfill them, they end up with like a bit of a dome on the top, and you don't really want that. So I'm just robbing those ones. Robbing Peter to pay Paul, that's the old saying, isn't it? And then we'll end up with exactly 18 full-sized wax melts. That's it, we're about there. So there we go. Perfection! Right, we'll be back tomorrow morning to unmold these, and you'll, well, fingers crossed they unmold as beautifully as all my wax melts have been lately. And that's down to not trying to speed up the setting process. I'll see you tomorrow, but for you it's like in 1 second. Okay, my friends, it's now time to unmold. It's about 18 hours since I poured these. So let's see if they unmold beautifully and what they look like. And let me know, I know a lot of you do love watching the wax melt videos, but they can be very repetitive. Literally, I do make hundreds of them. Would you like to see me making all of them? Basically, every video is going to be the same, except that we're going to be using different fragrances, colours and glitters, that kind of thing. So yeah, just let me know if you'd like to see that, and I'll start videoing the wax melts as well. So I think I've just put a little bit too much of the lilac colour in here. Violet colour, was it? Violet or lilac? I can't remember. Violet, wasn't it? The Becquerel Violet. I would have preferred it a little bit paler, but it doesn't matter. It's still beautiful. The glitter looks absolutely gorgeous. And look at the unmold on that. Absolutely perfect. And I truly believe that is because I haven't put them in the fridge or the freezer. I've just let the wax set up on its own, so you can see every unmold is sharp. I'm not saying that every single bar is going to unmold perfectly, but that is definitely a top tip for you if you want perfectly unmolded wax melts. I'm using Eco Soya Wax Melt. The brand is called Eco Soya Melt, and I know a lot of you have trouble with getting soy wax to unmold well, so just try putting 10% paraffin wax in there, or even beeswax might be better. And the reason I say beeswax is because beeswax doesn't frost, and that's why I use beeswax in massage bars or solid body butters rather than soy wax to solidify them, or any other wax for that matter. Beeswax works very, very well, and doesn't leave any frosting. So just try 10% if you're having trouble. The reason I mention that is just because loads of people message me all the time about frosting issues. And I know it is just part of wax melt making, is overcoming that frosting issue that we tend to have. Really nice, aren't they? Now the hot pink labels don't have foil on them because the foil doesn't actually stick very well to whatever paper they use for the fluorescent colours. Okay with the pastels, but the fluorescent's not so great. And it's funny, the fluorescent foil from MINC, that doesn't stick very well either, even onto ordinary paper, so that needs rectifying somehow. But it still looks good, doesn't it? The fluorescent pink with the black lettering looks really smart. And also I've started wholesaling my wax melts again. I'm not wholesaling them with my label or anything on there. They're just going to come in a clear cellophane bag. I'll show you actually what I'll do with them. So there'll be no option whatsoever to have my packaging on there. I don't mean my packaging, I mean this packaging with the fancy labels and the foil on there and everything. so this is how I will be wholesaling the wax melts. They'll just go in a normal cellophane bag like this. And so you can put whatever sticker you want on there on the front. If you want to, just put a little your logo here at the top somewhere so people can see how beautiful the wax melt is. And then obviously this isn't the correct label for this. This is the label for the Lamal. So it'll have all the CLP information and everything on there. And I'll just stick those on the back. So there's nothing for you to do except add your logo to the front if you want to. Of course, if you don't want to, you don't have to. You can just sell them as is. But whatever information is on here is what you must put on the back of there. Alright, so that's just covering the wholesale. I'm taking this back out because this isn't going to be a wholesale wax melt. This is going to be my retail wax melt. And with the wax melt, wholesale wax melt, I will be making them all to order. And the reason is because I wrap all my wax melts with my labelling like this, and they all go on a shelf. So someone puts an order in, I can't then take all the packaging off. That would just be silly and not cost effective at all. So any wholesale wax melts you order will be made fresh to order. So you need to allow like 2 weeks for that. Obviously it doesn't take 2 weeks to make them, but I'm not just making wax melts all the time. I'm making lots of other products. So yeah, if you just give it 2 weeks, so think ahead. If you want to order, say you want to order stuff in for Easter or whatever, or summer, the summer holidays. Also you can choose exactly which wax melts you want. Now with a wholesale order, I won't do one Love Spell, one John Paul Gaultier, one Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy, one Fresh Hair Honey and Amber, one Main Street, that kind of thing. You've got to buy them in multiples of 5. So you can specify which fragrances you want on your order, or there's a drop down menu and you can just choose whether you want the designer fragrances, and I'll just choose which designer fragrances to put in there. I don't just throw any old rubbish in. I don't just throw any old rubbish in there because I want you to do well with the products that you buy from me. So put like probably the best or the good sellers in there. So you can choose like 30 designer or 30 Disney or 30 spring and summer or 30 autumn and winter, or 30 delicious. So there are a few different ranges that I actually have on the website. So if you just choose from the drop down menu which category you want out of those the wax melts that we do, then I'll just put I'll choose what to put in your order. But if you don't want me to choose and you want to choose, just choose the 30 mixed, and then choose 6 different fragrances that you specifically want, and you can mix them from different categories as well. So they don't all have to be Disney or anything like that. So there's a little comment section in the when you're placing your order. All you need to do is write it in the notepad area of your order on the website, and I'll just pack the order and do the ones that you've chosen. And if you put more than 6 different ones down, I'll choose 6 from the ones that you've chosen, because as I said, you can't just order 1 of this and 1 of that, or 2 of this and 2 of that, because that's not proper wholesale. Proper wholesale is buying multiples of one fragrance at a hugely discounted price. And then you can go and sell them for whatever you want. And just bear in mind, the price of wax has dramatically increased over the past year. Well, since COVID started. So the price I've got in there is an excellent wholesale price. I know a lot of people might get confused about wholesale, because there seems to be a lot of people who just discount their products a little bit by maybe 10 or 20% and sell them like that as wholesale, but that's not wholesale. Wholesale needs to be where someone's going to buy quite a few of one product from you, and then they can go and sell that on and make a good profit. If they're only going to make 5% profit from your goods, they're going to put someone else's on the shelf that they're going to make 50% profit on. Especially if they've got a shop. Every space that they've got in that shop needs to be returning the maximum percentage that it possibly can. And generally the markup from wholesale is at least 2, so times 2. So say you pay £2, the retail price is going to be £4. But a lot of companies it's 2.2, some are 2.4, so you would times whatever cost that you're paying for wholesale, you would times it by 2.4, and then that would give you your retail price. That's your RRP. And I don't believe in sale or return. I think it's rubbish. I've done that many years ago when I was new. And that is where you go and put your products in a shop. They don't pay you for them. And when they sell something, they'll give you the money that they've sold. Like, so if you were doing sale or return, you would go and put your products in their shop and probably give them 10% of whatever they sold. But I found, like, every month or whatever, all you were doing was popping in for the odd £5 or £10 or £8 or £16 or £20 or whatever. I mean, that was before online banking and everything like that, of course. Be different now. They would just pay you through online banking. And then another way to do it, which either I've just forgotten or didn't know about, is shops can charge you for a shelf. So you just pay them so much to rent a shelf from them, and you put your products in, and you get all the money, except of course the money that you've paid for the shelf. But I've always thought, if people are serious about business and they want to make money, you know, they surely should be able to spare like 80 quid, 100 quid to place an order. And it's going to be much better for them if they can do that, because their markup then is 50% instead of 10% or whatever. But each to their own, you know, everyone can do it whichever way they want. And just remember, as the manufacturer of the product, you are responsible for all the information that goes on the back there. The shop owner is not responsible for that. You are the manufacturer. But again, don't let all the litigation and that put you off. I get a lot of people, they want to go into soap making and stuff, and they won't do it because all the legislation scares them. It's just you're scared of the unknown. It's not as scary as it all seems. I know I complain about it because I think some of it is far too strict and nonsensical, a lot of it. But yeah, don't let it put you off. We want our community to grow and become like mainstream, and get more and more people learning how to make products and make soap and be able to work from home and create an income for them and their families without having to go out to work. I mean, that's a great thing to be able to do that. Banging. Weird. I think I've got a ghost. Oh, and my one other tip, never let anyone tick on, like, buy now, pay later. You can't afford, you're just a small business. We can't afford to carry big companies. Of course, you know, everyone. Now, I don't know if any of you watch Dragon's Den, but if you do watch it, all the episodes are on YouTube. It's a wealth of information to learn about business just by watching that program. Would I ever go on Dragon's Den? Oh, I love the idea of it. I'd love to think I could get a dragon to invest and just believe in me. You know, I think that would be the best thing, but I think they'd rip me to shreds. I mean, I've been in business 17 years and I'm still just making a regular wage. I definitely could have grown the business if I really wanted to, but, and there is part of me that wants that even now, but I do actually like working on my own. What about you? Do you like working on your own, or do you prefer being part of a team? I've never, you know, I have been in management before, training people, and I didn't really enjoy that. Not the actuality of training people, it's just the information doesn't seem to go in and stay in, so it's very repetitive, and it's hard to find people that really want to learn and progress. I mean, you want someone that's hungry, probably somebody that wants to create their own business someday. That's the type of person you want, because they're going to stick in and they're going to take everything on board and they're going to do it to the best of their ability. I know a lot of people might not think that's a good idea, because they're going to take all your ideas and go off, which yes, is not very nice, but it happens, you know, in business. Like a lot of hairdressers, they'll go into a salon and they'll work there for so many years, and then all of a sudden here they are, they're opening their own salon. And so there you go, that's what the Love Spell wax melts look like at retail. So I'm going to go and pop those on the shelf, and thank all of you for watching me here today. Like I said before, if you want to see more videos about wax melts, please let me know in the comments. Don't forget, we've got like a super fan giveaway going on. Whoever is my super fan, and I'm going to work that out by who puts the most comments on the videos. On my most recent videos though, just say the last 10 or the last 20, something like that. It's no good going back 10 years and putting comments on those videos, because I probably won't see them. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to count them up, and whoever has done it the most times, you can come back every day and write a comment every day if you want to. Whoever writes the most is going to be the winner of £30 worth of stock from Eden Secret, and I'll announce that on the 30th of April. Okay my friends, I'll see you all very soon for another video from Eden Secret. Bye bye for now. Meow.